Commissioner Yellen.
Here.
Commissioner Rosales.
Here.
Judge Shaw here. Commissioner Schindel. And Commissioner Hummel's not here. Tracy won't be here. Carl said he would, so I don't know where he's at. Please stand and join us in opening prayer and say stand up and pledge allegiance.
Heavenly Father, thank you for all our blessings. Thank you for the recent rains received. We ask that you continue to bless us. We ask you to help us in making our decisions for the county this morning. Thank you for all our troops and the freedoms we enjoy in this world. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Citizens to be heard, Carol?
I don't have any.
Carol, I didn't call your name.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. When I looked at you, it dawned on me. Next on the agenda is to discuss, approve, disapprove a proclamation designating the week of October 7th through 13th, 2012 as National 4-H Week in Texas and allow Commissioners Court to approve if accepted. And what this is, it's just a 4-H proclamation. I didn't put a 4-H proclamation in your package because I didn't run you all the copies of it. It's for the 4-H youth development. JD's not here. And it's the same one that we signed last year. It says the 4-H development program of the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service for 105 years for providing experience-based education to youngsters throughout the Lone Star State. And it goes in to give you the whole proclamation. And October 7th through 13th, 2012 is National 4-H Week in Texas and National Youth Development Program of the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service. And they're just asking us to execute it and present it to them.
I make the motion to approve a proclamation designating the week of October 7th to 13th, 2012 as National 4-H Week in Texas.
Second motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, guys. Motion carries 4-0. On this one, will y'all sign that for me? There's two of them. There's one for JD. The pretty one's for JD. And the other one's, the plain one's for Carol, because you can't see this pretty paper when she runs it through anyway. Number 7 is to discuss, approve, disapprove a resolution of the Commissioners Court of the County of Karnes, Texas, authorizing the county judge to enter into an interlocal agreement with the El Oso Water Supply Corporation for completion of a Texas Community Development Block Grant Program for the water improvements in northern Karnes County. That's Kelly Odom. That's the lady that was here last week doing TCDBG. And Carl, you sign this with the And on the TCDBG, we did 2 resolutions, but we didn't have the interlocal agreement on there. And the interlocal agreement went with one of the resolutions, and it was in your package last week. Thank you. No, I didn't do it yet. And it was in your package last week. So I didn't run you another copy. If you want to see it, it's the same thing as the resolutions. It's the interlocal.
Need a motion, right?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve a resolution of the Commissioners Court of the County of Karnes, Texas, authorizing the county judge to enter into an interlocal agreement with the El Oso Water Supply Corporation for completion of the Texas Community Development Block Grant Program project for water improvements in northern Karnes County.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries 4-0. Number 9 on the agenda is to discuss, action, accept environmental site assessment observations report at Karnes County Jail property and authorization for Chapman Engineering to proceed with the soil sampling proposal in the amount of $11,905. Did I skip 8?
Yeah, I think you skipped it.
Well, you know what? Let's do 9 since I already read it.
All right.
Then we'll go back to 8. I apologize.
Hey, good morning. You should have in your packets 2 documents. One is a report from Chapman Engineering. The Commissioners Court authorized them to do the environmental assessment at the new jail site, and this is a completion of their report. The report also includes attachments for the TECQ work that was done back in 2008. And just briefly, a summary of the report is shown on the first 6 pages. And I'll just briefly kind of review that with you and then talk to you about the next step, which is the proposal that you also have. If you look on page 3 on the executive summary, essentially they talked about what they did and the site visit that they made in order to make the determinations in this report. And they came up with different herbicides and chemicals that were found on the site and will lead to subsequent requirement for surface soil sampling to see if those herbicides have contaminated any of the soils on the site. The bottom of page 3 talks about buildings A, C, and D, and if you look at page 28, you'll see a site plan on the back of page 28 that has the buildings labeled, so you'll be able to orient yourself and see the which buildings he's talking about when he refers to different buildings on the site. He found that insecticides and herbicides were stored in buildings A, C, and likely building D. And then he goes on to talk about what those herbicides are. And starting on the top of page 4, he talks about some different drums and herbicides that were found at the west wall of building A. And since these drums have collapsed from corrosion, there's a chance that they released some chemicals into the soils. Building D, he discusses molasses tank, which although he didn't find any fuel spillage on the site, there's a chance that there was fuel spillage in relation to the functioning of that molasses tank and heating it up. And so he's going to be checking for outside of building B for any contaminants in that area. He goes on to talk about building warehouse C, also found there was a labeled chemical in that building. And building D, if chemical mixes were spilled inside the warehouse and rainwater infiltration occurred, those chemicals could have flown out, so he's going to be testing around building D. And then he talks about at the end of page 4, an above ground storage tank, which could have contained petroleum products, so he's going to be testing in that area for any possibility of petroleum containment or contaminants. Then on page 5, he goes on with his recommendations. He says building E can be demolished and removed at any time because he did not find any evidence of any contaminants in that area. Then he goes on to talk about doing a site visit and doing soil sampling at buildings A, D, B, and then along at the above storage tanks in the northeast corner of the property. And if you go to the environmental proposal, which is the smaller document, and you look at the last page, it shows the areas where he's going to be sampling with a circle and an X on it. So these areas that he's sampling came from his site visit and review of this TCEQ cleanup. Then once the soil sampling is done, he's going to be recommending demolition and disposal of the buildings, as well as make recommendations to us on what we need to do to deal with any contaminants that are found after the sampling is done and the laboratory test tells us what they find. He is saying also that once, once building C is demolished, he's going to want to take some samples from underneath the building before the soils are disturbed. So we have one more step after this proposal that I have before you today for him to do some more sampling at building C. So if we move on to the proposal, when you look at page 2, he says that he's going to be taking 15 soil samples and 2 dust samples, and he'll be collecting those based on the site plan on the back of this page and in accordance with the findings that he had in his report. He will compile and summarize the results and include an interpretation of all data, conclusion, and recommendations. The cost of the work is a not to exceed of $11,905. About $8,000 of that budget is the laboratory testing, and then $3,900 is him coming down, taking the samples, and analyzing them and making the recommendations to us. So this is the next step that we need to take at the jail site in order to be able to do any work on that site when it's time to start construction. And I would like to do it as soon as possible so we can get the samples done and get the site cleared for us to be able to start construction.
So as deep as we're going is 10 inches?
Yes, he's just recommending surface samples based on the site assessment that he did.
Why are we just going 10 inches? Why are we not going 45, 30 feet?
Find something here.
Yeah, that's,
Well,
He has to do it initially.
I understand, but you always want to run the county like a business, right? I think I've heard people mention that. And in the private world, they buy a piece of property from you, it might be in your front yard, it might be your house. They go down 25, 30 feet. And I just don't want to get caught in a situation where we start building a jail and then the next door neighbor goes down 25 or 30 feet and voila. And whatever you think, but I know what was there. Told you all about this, and Bob, did you look at the contract on this? You're not the county. You weren't the county attorney at the
How much
time?
contract, Carl?
I mean,
For the jail?
yeah.
The bond attorneys did. Bickerstaff, Heath and Delgado.
we can go as deep as the county wants to, but Mr. Chapman, I mean, environmental engineering is his career. He's you know, he has over 25 years experience, and this is his recommendation. And
I understand, but if you go down 10 inches, everything's okay. Later on, somebody goes down 25 or 30 feet, like they normally do in a phase 1 and phase 2, and they find something, then we're in trouble. But if we go down 25 or 30 in the very beginning, then we're good to go. You know, you understand what I'm saying?
yes, but if you don't find anything in 10 inches, you're not gonna find it 25 feet. Chances are. I can get a second proposal to take some of the samples deeper and have him respond back, but.
He feels safe that going 10 inches, if nothing's found within 10 inches, then that means nothing's penetrated beyond 10 inches.
Yes.
If nothing's gonna go under the 10 inches, it would be showing on the surface.
Yes, that's his recommendation, and I mean, his liability's on the line here because he's the one that's clearing the site. If anything ever came back and had a problem, he's the environmental engineer that has been guiding and leading us and evaluating, and is professionally liable. So
So the groundwater is, everything's okay, huh?
when you say groundwater,
I mean, we just don't have a problem with the site. If you're telling me and he's telling me we don't have a problem with the site, then I guess we really don't have a problem.
he's saying that you based on his on-site observations, that you need to do additional soil sampling to determine the extent, if any, of the herbicides and chemicals that may have contaminated the soils.
But he's talking about
That's
where
the
that
next
molasses
step.
is, around that above ground tank. He's gonna take extra soil samples around all that.
Like all the locations where he saw potential for.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
reading on.
Yes, yeah, that's where he's recommending. And I mean, he is even going farther as far as, he's just assuming that on the, and I don't understand exactly what molasses has to do with what was going on at this site, but
was
just
a mixture.
assuming that there was a heat source, he's assuming that there could have been fuel spillage. So he's even assuming, even if he didn't find anything in the area based on what's there and what the application was, he's assuming that there could be something, and he's sampling in those areas also. So, I mean, I feel confident. I'm not an environmental engineer, which is why we hired them to come in. And if he felt like he needed to go deeper to protect his professional, responsibility, then he would recommend that we go deeper. I feel confident with that.
But he ultimately, if this property really, we got into a big cleanup project, he's not gonna be paying those costs. The county's gonna be paying those costs, is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. But he's
So-
responsible, if he clears the site, he's professionally liable for his
I
recommendation.
knew in the very beginning the history of this property, that's why I voiced concerns
Right.
all along, because I am looking out for the best interests of the county. And I don't think that was the best site, knowing the history of the property. The location, I don't have a problem with the location, but the history of the property and the business that was there and the products that were sold and handled and spilled and whatnot, I do have a problem with that. And so, whatever y'all think, I mean.
He carries insurance for his professional opinion and his liability, doesn't he?
Yes, he has insurance and his contract spells out his, that he has professional liability.
I understand Carl's concerns, I do 100%, but I also understand how long has this dude been, this man been in?
He's, over 25 years. I mean, this is
Okay,
his expertise.
I don't really think that he would put it on the line. Everything that he's done is on the line, and everything that he's earned in his lifetime, respect and everything. He knew, if it was gonna go under 10 inches, I really think, man, I understand your concern, but I think he would
He has
ask
no
for it.
reason
Yeah,
to.
it'd be more money for him.
He has no reason to.
He may charge us more
yeah.
for doing that, I'm sorry, it'd be more for him on the contract the deeper he goes. If he's stopping at 10 inches, I would think that he would, kind of just figure that we don't need it. I'm sure he's bumped into this kind of site before, probably worse sites,
Yes. Yeah, I don't think he, I think that
I don't know,
he's giving
Carmen, I
us the
understand your
recommendation
concern.
that
How
he
long
feels
have you lived in
comfortable
Karnes City?
Well, I'm 29, so 29, 42 years, born and raised here.
How long was that a functioning cotton gin and feed store?
I just remember it
And
closed
how
out all
long
the
has
time.
it been on the market and nobody wanted to buy it? I mean, there's some flags
Well,
here.
Karnes County never boomed like this, and that was a lot of structure to knock down, because I even looked at it, but the cost of knocking down all the structure to develop anything was like $40-something, $50,000, I looked at it years ago. As in, it wasn't
If you
booming.
feel comfortable with it, and I'm just telling you, there's some red flags there, and I can see them, and whatever y'all think. I mean, it looks like you could get into a big mess.
I do agree with you, Carl, on that, the concerns you have, but I gotta take this company's side, that if they recommend, they've been at it over 25 years, and they recommend that all we gotta do is go 10 inches, that's why we have all these people, these experts.
I've never heard of just going 10. I've heard of a farmer going out there, taking a little soil sample. But when a business buys or leases a piece of property, I have firsthand knowledge of that. They
Goes
go down
25.
25 feet, and they put this little tube down there, and they suck down some groundwater. And if they say it's good, it's good. If they say it's bad, it's bad. But I've never heard of 10 inches. Never heard.
Lorraine?
It sounds like he may be a little afraid of what's down a little deeper.
No, there would be no reason for him to be afraid of what's deeper because,
Well,
again, I mean,
gravity,
his
that's what
professional.
happens over time. You're not gonna find, you spill something out there right now, just water, for instance. You're not gonna find it.
But
On the
usually something,
surface, you're not gonna find it in 10 inches.
Yeah.
usually something that contaminates the soil, it's gonna contaminate it from the.
How does groundwater get down there to the groundwater table?
I think it's just like gas or anything else, like our gas tanks were like that. Like lead paint, when it chips off a house, they say after it goes so deep, you don't have to worry about the people.
I don't wanna sit here and tell you I told you so. I'm not being
He talks
out of
about,
office, but,
in the,
I mean, if y'all feel comfortable with it, go ahead.
in the end of the paragraph on the first page, he talks about his recommendation of the 10 inches, and he talks about what he found there, and he says, the herbicides and pesticides apparently stored on the property based on containers we found and on prior reporting tend to have low mobility in the environment. They also would not have leached into deeper soils at rapid rates based on what we have learned from soil survey information. Therefore, Chapman Engineering will take hand dug samples for, at 10 inches. I mean, he's addressing the justification for why he's not going deeper. I mean, I don't know anything about herbicides, pesticides, or environmental engineering, and so that's why, again, we have him as our expert.
Well, I feel certain there were gas tanks there
Mhm.
somewhere. Probably
And
not above
he
there.
addresses that in his report. He talks
I'm
about
sure-
diesel
I'm sure
fuel,
there
and that's part of where, where he's taking these samples. So, we can authorize him to go and do their 10-inch samples, and at the same time, I can ask him for a proposal of what would it take to take, one or two deeper samples, and
Well, does he know
And at
where the
least-
gasoline tanks were located? Does he know where he obviously knows where the molasses is.
based on assumptions, he talks about that in here, on where diesel fuel would have been, and different fuels would have been, part of the production and.
Well, the
and
previous
working
owner
at the site.
that operated it could probably tell you where the tanks are, and then you don't have to go on the Easter egg hunt to find it.
Yeah.
that would, I'm just saying, if you build a jail there and an inmate gets wind of what was there and they're sick and they get a lawyer, you know, they sue for peanut butter being either crunchy or not crunchy, so.
That's why we're
That would
doing
fall
it.
back on the reputation of our engineer.
And that's why the county's doing the
Well,
due diligence
I
of
assure
getting the
you,
site clear.
the county will get sued, not just the engineer. The county will get sued too, because you own it. You made the decisions. Just a little CYA and FYI.
So
But
you
if you
feel that if you went deeper, then you have,
Right, I'm just saying, I don't feel
anything
comfortable,
happen.
but if they do, that's fine with me. I'm just saying, I don't feel comfortable.
But he also spoke about flying debris and stuff like that into that. Means all the blocks around there would want to be contaminated. And over the years that it was open, I mean, what isn't contaminated? If you start looking at that, you know.
I mean,
So
you're,
much for the park, huh?
you need to do your due diligence. TCEQ cleared the site for being close to a park. I mean, you already have a state agency that cleared the site. But the concern that I had about using TCEQ as our document for saying the site's clear is they specifically say in there that this site has been cleared to be in the proximity of the park. It wasn't cleared for new construction. I want an environmental engineer that says we're cleared to build.
But once you buy a piece of property like that, you're assuming all risk, all liability, all contamination, all cleaning costs. I mean, it's yours. You own it. That's the way that goes.
And what's to say he's not going to find something within those 10 inches? He hasn't done them yet, right?
Exactly.
And
Once
then-
he does his
right.
samples,
And then-
if there's any concern,
So this is a starting.
Right, I think we should go ahead, just
Yes.
go, let him do the 10-inch samples, and if it comes out clean, that could be another issue that we come up with, but if it doesn't, then he's gonna go a little bit deeper.
yeah, he'll make his recommendations based on what he finds in these 10-inch samples, and then if there's a need to go deeper, then we can address going deeper at that time. And if you even just feel a little bit like I still wanna go deeper, if he doesn't recommend it, we can address it at that time, because he can't go 35, he's gonna come out and take the samples himself, and he's doing that because he wants to make sure they're taken in the right place, and he's taking that liability all the way through, so he's actually doing the samples himself, he told me.
Oh.
And so he can't go deep anyway, so it's not like we're gonna be paying extra for somebody to come back, we're gonna have to get a rig out here to go down 25 or 30 feet.
We're gonna strike oil there.
Did we buy
You know,
minerals?
I'm sure if it was yours,
You get the mineral rights.
I know what you're saying, I was just saying
I'll
the
be
joke.
honest
I
with you.
wouldn't halfway do it. I would do it right. I would take the high road. But that's just me.
No, I respect your concerns. And we'll see on this, on the 10 inches, man, to see what's going on, and then if it comes out clean and you feel strongly about that, then we can get at least a proposal, see what it would be, and
We certainly can.
And I think most reliable engineers or reputable engineers are just as concerned as you are, Carl. They don't want to get themselves in that mess. I mean, most of them are very professional. They don't want to be part of that.
yeah, because even if they go 10 inches, they have to know that it's gonna be clean underneath, because when they start with the foundation of that building, they're gonna have to go deep to base it and start off with it, so they're gonna go in, I don't know exactly how deep or the grade of the ground there, but it's gonna be all different depths that they're gonna go in.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, what number was that?
9, I skipped 8.
I'll make the motion to take action on accepting the environmental site assessment observations report at Karnes County Jail property and authorization for Chapman Engineering to proceed with soil sampling proposal in the amount of $11,905.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries 4-0. Okay, Carol, I'm gonna go backwards. Number 8, discuss, approve, disapprove change order number 7 for phase 1 of the Karnes County Courthouse. This change order does not reflect any additional costs to Karnes County. Lorraine had this on here. And I think we actually got money back on this one,
Yes.
or was it a?
This is for when we reduced the scope to get rid of all the finishes and the exterior sidewalks and putting the steps back on the west side of the courthouse, et cetera, when we knew that the foundation repairs needed to happen sooner rather than later. So we took all of that work out because it would have just been demolished when you went and did the foundation repairs. So we have a credit of $27,900 for the scope reduction. And then there's, $29,370. The total change order is a credit of $27,900. There's 3 small items in this change order also. One was to take, there were actually some roof vents that were going up through the slate roof, and those were diverted to go back through the copper roof instead of having an opening in the, of course, a whole new slate roof. And that was $500. Then the waterproofing that's on the front of the west facade, removing that was gonna cost several $1,000s. And so the contractor just painted it so you don't see all that black while we're waiting for the new foundation repairs. And then it was $136 to demolish part of the second floor topping to get the 2 windows in. There was a conflict there that needed to be addressed. So your total credit is $27,900 on change order number 7. And that leaves your contingency balance, your construction contingency balance with $33,580 in it now.
So our project's coming in under budget, we're doing good over there.
Yes, it is.
Good.
Now, we are coming up with things that this contractor can do that are going to have to be done for the foundation repairs to try to use some of this credit, because this credit, this grant is the 60-30, whereas your foundation repair is 50-50. So anything you can do in this contract in preparation for the foundation repairs is going to be more beneficial financially for you. So we have a proposal request out there to do some things that have to be done anyway, to see if we can get it in this contract to save you that 20% difference.
All right, I'll make a motion we accept change order number 7 for phase 1 of Karnes County Courthouse. This change order does not reflect any additional cost. In fact, we received the credit to Karnes County.
I'll second it.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Lorraine.
We don't leave this third one for you to sign.
You want me to sign it and hand it to you?
Sure.
Yes, you can't take the original. You get the 2 copies?
Will you be around today?
Yes, I will.
I'll give you this other one, Lorraine, the other one, I'll give you your original.
Okay, thank you.
There's a man coming from Greco.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lorraine.
Thanks.
Number 10 is to consider approve, disapprove a proclamation declaring the month of October as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month by the Guadalupe Family Violence Shelter, and that's Jennifer Fernandez. Hello, Jennifer.
Good morning.
You brought it yourself, Jennifer?
I brought a copy.
Thank you.
So October nationally is recognized as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we are asking you to join with us in recognizing that month in support of survivors of family violence and in recognizing those who work on their behalf.
Do you have it with you?
Proclamation?
Surely.
Whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy and dignity, security and humanity due to systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control and/or abuse, including abuse to children and the elderly. Whereas the problems of domestic violence are not confined to any group or groups of people, but cut across all economic, racial, and societal barriers, and are supported by societal indifferences. And whereas the impact of domestic violence is wide-ranging, directly affecting individuals and society as a whole, here in this community, throughout the United States and the world. And whereas women are not the only target, young children and the elderly also are victims, and sadly, emotional scars are often permanent. And domestic violence costs United States companies at least $3.5 billion in lost work time, increased healthcare costs, higher turnover, and lower productivity. And whereas it is battered women themselves who have been in the forefront of efforts to bring peace and equality to the home. Now therefore, we do proclaim the month of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month and call all citizens, community agencies, religious organizations, medical facilities, and businesses to increase their participation in our effort to prevent domestic violence, thereby strengthening the communities in which we live.
Do you hang that up?
Yes.
Because if you do, we have pretty paper, and Sylvia will run you a pretty paper. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, on item number 10, make a motion to approve a proclamation declaring the month of October as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, Guadalupe Valley Family Violence Shelter Incorporated.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
You'll just see Sylvia and let her make you a pretty copy that Sylvia put those out there, and we'll sign them both for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Number 11 on the agenda is to discuss, approve, disapprove a Department of State Health Services contract number 2013-042109. It's the Vital Statistics Unit beginning 9/1/12 and ending 8/31/14. We get this, and this is actually, so if I'm not mistaken, Carol, I think it's so you can get records. Pretty much what it says on here: birth certificates, access to. It's an interagency contract through the local government code, so you can get the stuff that you need. That's what we read in here. And I didn't run y'all a copy because it's just numerous pages that says that we have to do it if we want.
So we can get the remote birth certificates
Yes.
from other counties.
Mm-hmm. So we can either do it or we can't do it. I mean, we either do it or we don't.
So this will be helpful for,
Oh, yes.
I'll make a motion to approve DSHS contract number 2013-042109-001 Vital Statistics Unit beginning 9/1/2012 and ends 8/31/2014.
Yes, sir.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries 4-0. Jennifer, you don't have to stay here if you don't want to. If you bring those up here real quick, we'll sign them for you. There you go. Be careful going back.
Thank you.
I'm making Carol a stack. That one, yeah, some of them aren't ready. Number 12 is to discuss, approve, disapprove a 2013 county contribution rate at 13.21%. That's fine.
We just have to get the new rate approved in front of Commissioners Court every year. Currently, it's 13.22%. It's just going to 13.21%.
Actually, I think the rate's changing to 13.84 because we're doing the 3% COLA for retirees.
Oh,
I
okay.
have Michelle checking on it right now, so if you want to just no action that.
No action. We don't have to have this done until December 15th. I'm sorry.
And if not, I mean, is Michelle gonna know before the end of the meeting?
Well, she's trying to get hold of TCDRS just because that number's sticking in my mind from doing the budget, but I want to verify.
That's right, I forgot about
Well, we
the
can just take no
3%.
action by and put it back on next
Yes.
month for you.
We don't have to do it, like I said, till December 15th.
Will you remind us?
Yes, I will put it back
Because I
on.
won't remember. Okay, thanks. Number 12, no action. Number 13 is to consider, approve, disapprove a resolution certifying that the Karnes County has made a home-delivered meals grant contribution to Community Council of South Central Texas. That's meals for the homebound. It's in the budget. Just every year we have to approve to meet our grant portion for. We used to call it Meals on Wheels. And that's what it used to be called, but now it's called homebound meal delivery. But it's for the elderly.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve a resolution certifying that Karnes County has made a home-delivered meals grant to the Community Council of South Central Texas Incorporated. Meals for the homebound. Karnes County contribution number 779.25.
779.25 is the dollar amount.
Oh,
I
it
didn't
doesn't
put
have a
dollar
dollar
sign.
amount.
I know, that's my fault. I didn't put dollar sign. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion
There was
carries
no
4-0.
second.
I'll second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was there not? I thought Pete said it.
Are you seconding?
Pete seconded it. Okay. Number 14 is discuss, approve, disapprove accepting a $2,500 donation for Marathon Oil for public safety, H2S monitors for first responders. And I put that on here. What happened is, we've got all the well sites and everything going on right now. There was a death in Atascosa County not long ago from H2S gas, and most of us don't even know what that is, or have never been around the toxin of the gas. And you see the guys walking around with the little yellow monitors. You'll see that, and what that is it tells you where H2S or if H2S is present when you're trying to get to a lease or a location. I believe EOG donated some to the Karnes City Fire Department, but our Sheriff's Department was left out. KCPD I don't think has anything. Kennedy PD didn't have anything. Our JPs don't have anything. Did I miss somebody? Anybody that's a first responder that might have to go out there would need these monitors in case there was something wrong and they were the first one on the scene, just to know that that H2S gas is present and to be aware of it. And not only are they going to donate the money for the monitors, they're actually teaching the class for us on Thursday at 1 p.m. out at Marathon at no cost to the county. Their safety rep's going to come in and teach an H2S certification class. And we probably won't get certified, but that way you'll know what's going on and you'll be able to get the monitor. It's not a long class. I sent all the JPs, KCPD, Kennedy PD, the sheriff, and I asked Charlie Mollick to contact all the firefighters that didn't have one. And I asked Daisy to contact all the JPs, and I asked Wayne to contact all the constables. That way anybody needing one of those H2S monitors. Sheriff, y'all don't have any at the Sheriff's Department, do you?
No, we talked about trying to get there, but instead of buying them, I bought $14,000 worth of tasers instead, so.
Well, and if we can get these, and I think Luana and I had talked about what Marathon was going to do was just like, I guess, buy them for us, but it would be easier for us to be able to purchase them, so we'll know, you know, if the employees are getting them. Do you know what I'm saying? And so we're going to set the account up and allow that to happen if it can happen.
Okay.
But Thursday at 1, out at Marathon on 2102.
Okay. I've got a meeting at 10:30 with a bunch of my head shed, and I'll run that down so we can be
Please
there.
let everybody know at Marathon 2102, all of our first responders. I'm going, I know, I think a couple of the JPs are going. I know some of the KCPD, Kennedy PD, firefighters, EMS was included.
Can we post it so if more than 3 of us show up, or 4 to 2 of us?
Oh, that would be, I gotta post it by Thursday. How would I do that? Would that be a? I mean, all it's gonna be is an H2S certification class. We're not gonna be talking about county business, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you don't.
And what time is this, Judge?
1 o'clock. I got the email on Friday at 5:45, so I didn't check my email till this morning, but at 1 o'clock at Marathon on 2102, if you go out 1353 and you take a ride on 2102, we're.
But that's what I'm trying to think. I got taser training Wednesday and Thursday, and that's what I'm trying to catch up with right now. I'm doing Corn City and Kennedy Police Department both, so something to think about. I'm just talking about that.
And
Thanks. Yeah.
if we go around that and get it done, like I said, we did have a person, not a, it was an oil field person that passed away of H2S gas. And that just stuff is just so toxic. Nobody knows. Bad part is when the air, you can't smell anything, that's when it's toxic. So it's just kind of better to keep everybody safe and you know, Fall City's a high prevalent area for that.
Yes.
How does that monitor work? Does it sound off an alarm when it smells the gas? And
Yes.
If it detects the gas, the alarm goes
Alarm
off.
goes off. That's when
you look at the windsock and you run
When that alarm goes
Up to
off,
it.
you need to turn around and go the other way.
fast.
As
You need
fast
to
as you
figure out
can.
which way the wind's blowing and run into the wind, right, Pete?
Right.
You need to leave if that alarm goes off. That's the whole point of the alarm. And Charlie put the check in the mail on Friday, so we haven't got it yet, but I'd like to set up the fund today and see if one of these safety folks around here carries the monitors, and everybody that wants one for the county can just go to a place and pick it up, or.
Okay, in regards to item number 14 on the agenda, I'll make a motion to approve accepting a $2,500 donation from Marathon Oil for public safety of H2S gas monitors for the first responders.
Second.
Okay, guys, remember that's at 1 p.m. on the 11th of October. They'll be doing the class. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries 4-0. Number 15 is to discuss, approve, disapprove an EMS commercial contract, that's Kelly Alexander Leasing, in the amount of $500,000 for property of the EMS barn building located at 1538 County Road 345, and allow me to execute if it's approved. This is the same property that we were kind of talking about at budget time that's for sale. It's right next door to the hospital. And you have a contract in your package, if you want to look at it. There it is, right there, it has a commercial leasing contract. Sean O'Brien did the contract. And were you asking me something or stretching?
Just stretching.
And they won't go any lower than $500,000 right now. Did you not hear a phone? Let me hand you a switch phone. Did I give you one? And I believe that Foster's built this building, so we know it's a good building, like Foster built it. What you doing? And we need EMS, we need an EMS barn, and I guess my concern with this was, why I brought it forth to y'all at the price that I did, is land in Karnes County is astronomical right now. Finding land to be able to build something, finding land to be able to do something. And obviously our EMS barn is in really, really bad shape. I don't know what anybody else thinks about it. And we're getting ready to build a new hospital right next to this property. So I wanted to bring forth this contract and ask you guys what y'all thought about it. Ross did review this contract for me. Ross is out there. He said everything's okay as long as it's something that we want to do. And everything's okay if it's something we don't want to do.
Okay, I agree, we need a new engine. I went out and looked at it, did my own evaluation of it, and I came up with I thought a liberal evaluation of $425,000 for building and property. So when I went past that, I talked to two different contractors and asked them what they could build that building for, and they came up with a maximum of $330,000 to $340,000. They should easily be able to build it for that. So I'm saying $160,000 to $70,000 is quite a bit to pay for 1 acre of land.
Half.
If y'all think the location is that worth that much and so forth, that's what it is. But I came up with $425,000 my valuation. So that's my opinion.
It's on .449 acres, right? What is that on? How big is that site out there?
It tells you right there on .249 acres, half an acre.
It's half an acre.
Yeah.
They told me it was an acre, that's what they said, it's on an acre, so I didn't.
I see we're getting no minerals.
I don't think you're gonna get minerals on anything right now. If you do, share.
Well, in regards to that, I mean, given this day and time and what's going on with the real estate prices and availability and it's quite a bit of money, but the location, it's ready to go. I'm in favor of this. I mean, today it may seem like a lot of money. 5 years from now, probably not so much. It's an excellent location. We can't get it better right next to the hospital. I mean, in my opinion, Shelby's not here, is he?
No, he's working today, he called me.
But last time he was here, he was loving it. That location and that building.
I think everything we have in town, when I say in town, in Kennedy, it's just so old and so ramshackle. I mean, but if anybody's trying to price land right now or buy land right now, it is just, there's like 30 acres or something for sale in between Kennedy and Karnes City, and they started like 50 to 60 an acre. Now they said 47.5 an acre. So what is somebody going to sell you, an acre or 2 acre or 10 acres? I mean, everybody's just gouging so bad right now that, I mean, this is something for our citizens. We need to provide EMS services, and that's just.
Johnny had mentioned one day in my office that there would have to be a lot of renovations done to the building. I asked him to get you a listing before this was on the agenda. I assume he didn't, since nothing's been mentioned.
It's used for an ambulance building.
I understand that, but that was the comment he made.
They haven't said that to me. I mean, they all knew it was going to be on the agenda, and nobody said that to me.
Who said that one?
Well,
Johnny Smart.
they were a 24-hour operation, is that correct?
Texas Regional?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have
There are two
bedrooms,
bedroom quarters in there,
a kitchen,
kitchen.
a living room area, office areas. Not a living room area, I guess you'd call it yeah, kind of like a den where they can all sit there and watch TV together or something.
I'm sure if there has to be some renovation, it's quite minor, I would consider. I mean, they were 24-hour operation.
They listed the square footage of it, they have square footage up there with a ladder going to it, not finished.
Brenda might know.
I don't know how the square footage is all listed on here, but
So there's a part of that building that's not finished?
upstairs is not finished.
What was everyone to be? Housing?
They say 5,400 EMS bill, I believe 7,500 square feet, and it's not near that much
Does anybody know what it's on the tax rolls at?
usable areas there.
I saw the appraisal. The appraisal was, Ross, you looked it up, what was it? Like a,
Well, when the appraisal was the price on the tax reports, right?
What was it?
The price value right now, I don't recall, I looked it up.
I think it's like 140,000 or 100, something like that.
It was less than.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
contract norm.
you can sit there all day long and pull those records. You're never gonna buy any property, especially now for what it's on the tax.
I wonder what the tax rolls are on those acreage between Karnes and King.
I got another.
We talked, I know we're talking right now about taking care of the citizens and everything, and I agree with that. I don't agree that it's worth $500,000 just on business. I don't agree with that. Problem is, I don't know the exact dimensions of that building, but it's 5,400 square feet. And I do know that our taxes, they evaluate them. If this building sells for $500,000, they're gonna go up on all those 10 buildings out there, because that's what this is. It's a 10 building, R-panel, Galvaloon, 10 building. That one sells for $500,000, irregardless if it's EMS. All these shops we got out there, they're gonna skyrocket. And the reason I know that, which I already questioned that, because my shops were going up. I was like, why? They said, well, when you sell a house for $300,000 and it's worth $100,000, everybody else that got that house for $100,000, they just skyrocket at theirs, because that's what the going market is now. So I know we're gonna help citizens like that, but I'm talking on a tax basis. We went down on our taxes and everything, and then we buy this building for $500,000. Everybody that owns a shop is making a living out there at this 5,400 square feet or so, then boom, I don't know how much it's gonna shoot up, but by the way that I was talking to the appraisal district, when something sells for that high, that's what screws up everybody else that's trying to make a living.
But you know what?
I mean, facts are facts.
Remember when they did the houses and it was in the paper that brick homes went up 30%? Y'all remember that? Does everybody kind of remember that article that was in the paper, every brick home went up 30% in taxes? And that was the year that I went down there and I talked to Kathy Barnhill and I said, how did you get that every brick house went up 30%? And it's similar to what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it's only for the people that disclose that say, that fill out that disclosure notice and send it back. Do you know they based that on like 3 or 4 houses?
I know, that's what
They
I
didn't
talked to
base
them
it
about.
on, they didn't base it on every house.
No.
And so most people were up there, what do you call it, protesting their appraisals. I mean, but I don't think that that's gonna, I mean, if they start doing that right now, I mean, everything out here, look at all these 10 buildings, they're selling for, I mean, I don't think we're gonna be able to find acreage, that's my concern. And if Pete's ballparking it and saying $425,000, I mean, where are we gonna find somebody to come in and find the land? I can guarantee you, a year from now or 2 years from now, if we don't buy this, we still won't have one.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sean has 2 individuals who might sell property, and I asked them about it. Well, I haven't asked me yet. I want to see what y'all do on this first. Before he sees that he can buy us any land.
Wes asked if the county doesn't have property already or possibly adjacent with the new jail property where something could be built.
Well,
Is there, the jail property gonna be totally used, or
Well,
would there
there's
be
the
area there?
shooting range down the road.
I don't think that's a good place for an EMS station. There are
yeah. You know, we can sit here and we can hash and rehash, and I know your building's gonna go up, my building's gonna go up, but somebody's gonna buy this EMS building, and they might use it for EMS, they might use it for something else, but it's gonna get sold. You're not gonna stop the valuations from going up. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, my opinion is that I work for the county and I look out for the county, And if I think purchasing this is in the best interest of the county and the people that live within the county for their life and safety, then I'm all for it. And I think it is. I mean, the location cannot get any better. And so I'm in favor of this, so.
What do we pay for an annex, $5.5, $6 million, and I don't think that brick taxes are gonna go up that much. I mean,
But
it's
there's
still,
not
you
another
know.
building that looks
Well,
like
there's not a building like that.
What, Gary?
That's what-
Barbara, doesn't the Commissioners Court want to know what the total cost of the building is going to be to include renovations before you vote?
Exactly, it might cost us 500,000, then another 60, 70, 100,000.
Who knows?
Fix it, right?
It's not that old, and Mike Foster built it. If Mike Foster built something, it's a good building.
The structure, I'm sure is fine if the Foster builds, that's for sure, they're good builders. But I'm trying to say, Gary, we don't know what we need in there. We really need to take someone and evaluate what do we need, maybe like Johnny, what is it gonna take to fix it up to, you know, for us to be able to use it all the time? It may be $150,000.
No, we went out there, Pete and I went out there, and realistically.
If I recall right, the building is 60 by 60, so that's 3,600 square feet, and the top is 30 by 60, so that's 1,800 square feet. That's where they come up with 5,400. So the 1,800 is not usable now. It's not finished. It's got a floor, and it has a ladder going up to it, and it has a wall across there, but it needs to be finished inside of some kind of 5,400 square feet. So, you know,
So
That's for the second story.
1,800 square feet could easily jump up to $75,000, $80,000, depending on what you want to do to it.
right.
That'd be on the high end, but
So, but anyway,
It's like an attic.
we do need to know what modifications have to be done. If Johnny Smart said something has to be done to it, we do know what has to be done to be serviceable for him. I think we should find that out.
I find it a little odd, a little disturbing that y'all are very concerned about some minor renovations to a building that we're purchasing for EMS, for life and safety of our citizens. But when it comes to the jail and that property, you talk about pesticides and herbicides and gasoline and diesel fuel, and y'all are just nonchalant about that. And you don't know it, and you will never know until you start cleaning up what that's gonna cost.
What year was this jail built? I mean, this.
And I can assure you, it won't be $100,000.
I think it's 7 years old, I'm not sure.
I mean, it's 7 years old.
that'll,
This, the EMS building.
But they're using it as a usable, workable 24/7 EMS building right now, and they're not having any problems, and I mean, they have as many ambulances, if not more, than we have at the county.
All right, I would be for building this, and if you want me to, I'll make a motion if we offer them $425,000 for it. I'll vote for that, but I won't vote for $500,000.
and I'm not gonna pay $500,000 for an unfinished building, period.
I don't think it's unfinished, James, it's just like the attic of your house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could go in and put something in the attic of my house too if I air conditioned it.
But they're counting that.
They're counting it as square feet, is what they're saying.
They're setting it to us for 5,400 square feet, not 3,600 plus attic space.
Well, I mean, that's what it should have been, but I'm sorry, I'm in agreement with Carl. I mean, if we can't
If y'all have a
stick
better
out-
idea, I mean, I realize when a deal comes to the table, you can shoot it down, you can find all kinds of things wrong with it, but what is your deal?
Well, my deal is to offer them $425,000 and see what they say.
I talked to Sean about this contract for a long time before, that they weren't bending past the 500,000. They feel like they can get 500,000 for it, and they weren't gonna bend. I mean, I started talking to him back in the summer before budget time even came up. I mean, it's a usable, workable EMS building. That's the whole thing. And I just know.
Right next to the hospital.
And they're getting ready to build a brand new hospital. But if we don't, I know that if we don't buy this one a year now from two, we're not gonna have anything, because we're still not gonna find the property, we're not gonna find the contractors, nobody's gonna go out and do it. I mean, you might go out and try, Pete, but getting Mike to build a building, come on, how far booked is he booked? Getting the integrity that you have in that structure, how are you gonna get it? You're just not gonna get it.
Well, you know, it's there, it's not very old, and it's ready to go, you just move in. I mean, I'll do what you want to, but I think when it comes to, if y'all have looked at the EMS building that we're currently in, I don't know
Water's
how
coming
you
in.
can sit there and gripe about 75,000. An EMS unit costs a whole lot more than that. Costs what, 125 or?
A little more than that, I don't remember, but yeah.
Right.
We've got money, but I'm not for throwing it around.
Well, like I said, it seems like a lot of money today.
The only thing I'm concerned is
You get $75,000 for an oil lease or something, you think nothing of that, but then when it comes to this building, we're talking, we got 15 to 25,000 people in this county that we gotta take care of, and we don't have an EMS building. And how long, where are we gonna go, where are we gonna put it? How long is it gonna take to build it? What is it gonna cost? I mean, I don't know.
I know we look for land for the jail, we look for land for everything else. Land is just high. And I look for land every time. Every time I see a sign, I call to see how much it is. Just, you know, I think it's a good place, but land is high.
Johnny's been in there how many years? 20-something years? And if he voiced a concern or said something
You know, I find it
about-
odd he didn't voice it to me, or to you, or to any of us. And I'm on the phone, I was on the phone with him Friday, I talked to him all the time. And I mean, they all acted pretty excited about this. He didn't say, I mean, if there was renovations, it might be a coat of paint on the wall.
Why don't y'all just wait till January 1st till the new commissioner comes in? The building will probably be sold, and you might have made the right decision, you might have made the wrong one.
How long has it been for sale? I don't know. You know what, they didn't decide, their reason for selling has nothing to do with why we're doing this, so I don't wanna go into that, but I know that it hasn't been for sale that long. But we had asked the hospital, when we had been looking for land for so long, I actually went and talked to Nathan about seeing if we could get some land from the hospital and, you know, like, just so we could be close to the hospital. They wanted a text dot survey done to see, they wanted a light put in and all other kinds of stuff put in, and I contacted text dot, and we went through all that. We've looked for property and we've done all that. Everybody either has a reason or a glitch that they can't sell us property. And it's usually something about, there's 2 acres in sale for selling Kennedy for $1 million, $1.5 million.
Yeah. You know, and it
Nobody wants to
happens,
sell you a
you know,
small
this,
plot.
I'll have something for sale, and guys, 2 or 3 people be talking about buying it, and I sell it to one person, and then these other guys call me, and they're just mad as hell that I sold it. You know?
I mean, this is for people, to take people to the hospital if they're laying on the road or something. I just don't think we could, I mean.
You're talking about somebody's life, $75,000 is not a lot of money to be haggling over. One good lawsuit sure really cost you more than that. I mean, I think the location is excellent, the building is, from what Shelby told me, it's very functional. It's not like, you know, it had a mechanic shop or something there. It was an EMS building. That's the same thing that we're gonna use it for, so, I mean, it looks
I'll
like.
make a motion that we offer them $425,000 for this property.
You evaluated, you checked with other builders, how much it would cost to build that exact building, they said around 330?
340.
With all of everything it has inside the rooms, everything that's finished already, the whole 9 yards.
And when do you think we could have that done, Pete?
Have what done?
Have it, buy the land and have it built?
Well, it'll take a year to get it done.
We've had the old EMS going for 30 years now.
But James, it's in horrible shape. It rains in there. I mean, what have we done to it? We haven't put any money in EMS. We brought a new ambulance.
Well, I mean, negotiation is negotiation, but I can tell you, and you know this very well, I mean, you have a cow for sale for $1,000, somebody says, I'll give you 200, or I'll give you 300. I know you.
You sell self-call, how many people offer you the top price you ask for first off the bat?
Well, if it sells the same day for your asking price, you probably sold it too cheap.
Then you say.
If you wait a long time and nothing happens, you're probably asking too much, you know, but, I mean, you're older and wiser than I am, but, this day and time is just, you can just throw away the rule book. Even trucks and tractors, I can't buy them for what's sales. Never.
Well, let's don't talk about it.
As a,
I just
So
made
I
a
hear.
motion on this and no lack of seconds.
as a businessman, Pete, I know you've been in business all your life and everything, if you did your homework on this building, then I trust your homework on there, I'll second that motion at 425, but not the 500.
So you want to counter offer at 425. Okay, we can't do that. Y'all are gonna have to counter offer at 425. But today, you just need to make a motion to approve or disapprove the 500,000. But if you want
Put an amendment.
yeah, you can add that to it, that you're gonna counter offer for 425.
Right.
And then do it that way. And then one of you guys call Sean and work that out. Carl, what are you doing? Well, what did y'all do? So you had a motion and a second that y'all want to discuss with Sean, a counter offer. Is that what y'all want to do?
425.
Offer, make a counter offer $425,000.
Okay, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? I'm opposed.
I'm gonna oppose too, because I think that's really your lowballing them. I mean, if it was,
If it was 200,000, that's a low ball in him. Just like Pete said, you're gonna sell a car, man. You sell it for $10,000. You probably want 9,000. You don't want the 10. You're just gonna go over a little bit to get that. Everybody goes down.
I think I think sometimes we're losing sight of some of the stuff that goes on. We just built an annex, what, $5.5 million? And we wanted 500,000 for an EMS barn. But I mean, that's just, we all see things differently.
I think we're missing the big picture here, but that's just my opinion.
So number 16 on the agenda, it's 2-2. Well, they can start negotiating, and I guess it can go back on the agenda when Tracy's here, and if it, huh?
It didn't pass.
You know what I would like to see done is some, about Johnny, maybe Johnny, you can let us know what renovations it needs. Maybe it's only $10,000. I don't know what he's talking, he's the expert, none of us are here
Right.
sitting up here. He's the one, if he knows this building needs something, I wouldn't wanna I don't care, make a special meeting to bring Johnny up here and talk to Johnny about it.
All I know is they were all really excited about having a functional place to be able to work out of. That's all they told me. I mean, that's Johnny included. None of them came to me and said anything about renovation. They came in just excited about having a place that it didn't pour down rain on them, and to have something that might actually be usable, close to the hospital, and that's all I was told. And I mean, renovations to that building, I'm just gonna tell you, anything Mike Foster builds, or Foster Construction build, is a top-of-the-line building. The renovations are not gonna be a lot. And I've known the Fosters for forever, and everybody thinks that they do an excellent construction job, so I don't think that there would be.
Well, you know, I've been told, now this is secondhand, but they're not gonna back off of that, and they probably told you the same thing. If you put it in a ad or something, or you tell somebody, I'm firm on my price, that usually means
If they're not.
firm. That means they don't make. So, did they tell you that they're not gonna back off that price?
No, I haven't discussed the price with them. I told Sean, I said, Sean, I've done my evaluation. He said, I respect your opinion. I told him that I'm going to tell what my evaluation was in court. He said, I respect your opinion. I thank you for letting me know. He said, I respect your opinion, whatever you say. But that Sean and I have worked together. So, in other words, we're not gonna just throw it away. So I'm putting my opinion out here, what it is.
Okay, so you're saving $75,000 right here. What do you think it'll cost to clean up that jail site?
I don't think, let's go back to the EMS part, but.
I think this is very, very important. I would like to set up a meeting with Johnny, and I do think this is very important for the citizens. I do understand that. And I understand what Laura's saying, it's $75,000, I know that. But really, I think 425 was kind of high, but, I mean, if he did his evaluation, I respect him as a businessman and as a fellow commissioner. But I would like to hear what Johnny has to say.
You could have called Johnny.
I talked to Johnny the other day, and he didn't mention nothing to me.
They're all excited, that's what I'm telling you. I don't understand where the renovation, all I got was, we're so happy to be getting a functional building and a place to be able to work where it's,
But
their working conditions are horrible.
I can call Johnny, Pete can call Johnny, but if we put a special meeting to talk to Johnny, at least the public can hear what it is too, because it is their money too. Because I can call Johnny and come back and say, oh, he said this, let's just go for it. But the public don't know nothing.
Well, that stuff down there by Walmart, is that the 2 acres you were talking about?
No, that's going for a lot more than that. I'm talking about, oh yeah, the new Walmart. Back where it's like,
$500,000 an acre is
no, it's $1.5 million.
for,
for that land by Elliott Gross's, it used to be a
The welding shop?
welding shop.
That,
Okay, so the next item on the agenda, I guess nothing happened with the EMS bill. Number 16 is to discuss, approve, disapprove advertising for the following Karnes County employment opportunities: the 9/11 GIS technician, special projects coordinator, discuss length of advertising, closing date of applications, projected hiring date, and authorize the county auditor to submit an advertisement, receive applications. It's Tracy. He just asked that Luana present it, so it's just asking for permission to advertise in the newspaper.
But I need all that information to be able to submit the advertisement. How long do you want to advertise? How long are you going to accept applications? When's your projected hiring date?
I don't know, Tracy's not here, you can get that, I mean, we can approve it, and then you can get that information from Tracy to, approve it as Tracy needs it ran. We need 9/11 addresses too. We're way behind on 911.
do you have some suggestions for the court in regards to?
How long do we usually run an advertisement, or how long do we usually do it, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Well, normally we'll run them for at least 2 weeks. But I would think these positions need to be filled as soon as possible, especially since Sharon just resigned and it's empty. So we're gonna get further behind on our
I mean, we can
addressing.
approve the advertising, and you can get with Tracy, and y'all can determine what you wanna do, can't you?
Well, I think that's why Tracy wanted it on the agenda for guidance from the court.
I mean, what do we usually run them for? It can't be that hard. It's a job, I mean, we had people pouring in here for that DPS application. They came in here and got it, so if we put this in the paper, people will come.
Can they also be posted on the website?
Yes.
When those are posted on the website, those have to be posted through Austin. They have to be posted through Sarah.
Right.
And if you wanna get with Brittany and post those, because you have to go, she has to do them.
Right.
And so they will post them on the website if you ask them to.
Okay, so the court's decision is just someone will make a motion to allow for the advertisement and Tracy and I'll work it out?
Yes.
I'll make that
Salary
motion.
supposed to be set by the Commissioner's Court.
The salary is in the budget.
I second it.
All in favor,
Motion.
say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None.
Motion.
But
Okay,
it's in
Luana,
the
just
budget.
advertise, and if we can't get those website things are messed up right now because we're in the middle of an internet glitch. Number 17 is closed session pursuant to Government Code 551071 and 551087. The Commissioners Court will meet in closed session to seek the legal advice of its attorneys on matters relating to tax abatement agreements sought by energy transfer and deliberate financial incentives sought by energy transfer. And Ross put that on there for us. Do we need to make a motion to go into?
I make a motion to go into the executive session.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
I'm not, like I said the last time, when I always usually stick to my guns unless I hear something good. I'll change, because I would change, but, is our county attorney going in there?
No.
Then one of our county commissioners is staying out here.
Okay.